Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Po, and today I'm going to be doing my anticipated releases for the fourth quarter of 2023, so October, November, and December. I've got 10 books on my list that I am really looking forward to, so I want to share with you what books are coming out that I am excited to read, and all of these dates are just based off of what Goodreads says. First, on October 3rd is Alebrijes by Donna Barba Higuera. I have really enjoyed her previous works, Lupe, Wong Won't Dance and The Last Cuentista, so I am super looking forward to this. It is a middle grade sci-fi dystopian about a boy who ends up being banished from his settlement, and his consciousness is placed into a drone and he has to survive out in the wasteland. It sounds like it's going to address some really interesting social issues and just have very cool world building. Then on October 10th is Roman Stories by Jhumpa Lahiri, translated from Italian into English by Jhumpa Lahiri and Todd Portnowitz. So this is a collection of literary short stories, just kind of focused on a bunch of people in Rome. Just a lot of maybe interconnected stories about the city through the people's lives. I heard about this from Russell at Ink and Paper blog, so I will link him below, and he loved this short story collection, so I wanted to give it a try. On October 12th is The Best of World SF Volume 3, edited by Lavie Tidhar. I have read both the Volume 1 and Volume 2 that came out before this and really enjoyed them. I think Tidhar does this great job of bringing together all of these modern things that are being published in sci-fi by people all over the world. A bunch of these are reprints, but also there's quite a few new stories that are included. And it's people you know, it's people you've never heard of, it's works in translation. I just love that he's bringing together all of these great stories, and I can't wait to read another volume of it. On October 17th is Hazardous Spirits by Anbara Salam. This is a historical fiction set in the 1920s in Scotland, and it follows a middle-class housewife whose husband ends up getting involved in the spiritualism movement and says that he can communicate with the dead, and this brings a lot of interesting things up in their relationship and in their community. And I think that this just sounds like absolutely fascinating. I think the spiritualism movement is such an interesting period of history, and this idea of what would you do if your spouse suddenly starts saying, hey, I can communicate with the dead, and what would that do to your relationship? So I'm very interested in this one. On October 24th is The Privilege of the Happy Ending by Kij Johnson, which is a collection of short fiction from the past decade. I have loved Johnson's previous books that I've picked up. The Dream Quest of Vellitt was fantastic. The Riverbank, which is just an expansion on The Wind in the Willows, was just so good. So I am really excited to read more short fiction from Johnson. Also on October 24th is Secrets We Tell the Sea by Martha Riva Palacio Obón, translated from Spanish by Lourdes Heuer. This is a contemporary middle grade about a girl, Sophia, who gets sent to live with her grandmother by the sea. Her grandmother's a little bit of a difficult character, but she also feels protected by her. And that's important because a lot of stuff is happening. So Sophia, one, is trying to find somebody that she can relate to. She feels that she is a mermaid and she wants to find other mermaids who can, actually understand her. She's also dealing with the fact that the seaside town is getting hit by hurricanes and storms and what they have to do to survive it. I really love middle grade that has that kind of magical realism to it and that deals with family and also community and ecological issues, so I think this is going to be so good. And one more book on October 24th is The Night Parade by Jami Nakamura, which is a speculative memoir, which sounds absolutely fantastic. Nakamura is basically taking this Japanese myth of the night parade of 100 demons and using that to frame a lot of what she has gone through in her life in terms of grief and bipolar disorder, and just kind of mixing myth and memoir, and that sounds so fantastic and interesting to me. Then on November 7th is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry, which is a prequel to Legends and Lattes, which was just such a sweet, cozy fantasy. I really loved that. So getting to see Viv, the orc's backstory, sounds really fun. And it basically goes back to her mercenary days where there's a time when she was injured and she ends up having to recuperate in a small, little, nothing town that has a bookshop, but of course gets involved in some different things. I just cannot get enough cozy fantasy in my life, so I'm looking forward to this. Also on November 7th is The Boy from Clearwater, Book 1 by Yu Pei Yun, illustrated by Jian Xin and translated by Lin King. This is a graphic novel, historical nonfiction, that is about a boy who was growing up in Taiwan in the 1940s and ended up being arrested and tortured and imprisoned during the reign of the White Terror, which is like this period of political oppression in Taiwan. This is being published by Lavie Querido, which just does such fantastic kid lit, and I'm just really interested in reading more about this historical period that I know so little about. And lastly, on November 14th is System Collapse by Martha Wells, which is the latest installment in the Murderbot series, which I adore. I do have a series review for that, so I'll link it below. I cannot wait to read more of Murderbot's journey. And in this story, Murderbot basically is trying to protect a colony of people from, of course, evil corporations, but also dealing with its own systems kind of not really working and trying to figure out what's wrong with it. I'm sure that this is just going to be a lot of fun and just epic, space opera with an excellent main character. So I can't wait for it. Okay, so those are 10 of my anticipated releases for the last quarter of this year. So October, November, and December. I think that so many of these are going to just be such great books. If you guys are interested in these too, or if something was new to you that sounds good, I'd love to hear about that. Or if you have anything that's on your list of anticipated releases for the rest of the year, I'd love to hear about it. Just leave me a comment down below.